Well, everyone who's listening right now, welcome. This episode, we are going to be talking about assistance and like the program that you don't have that you should have, but you're overcomplicating your apprenticeship program. And I think that people are forgetting that you're doing every single day in the salon that they should be learning from. And so you don't need to overcomplicate the training of an assistant. And I feel like too many owners feel like they have to duplicate what they went through. And yeah, when we went through our apprenticeship program back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, they were like 2 years, 3 years. I mean, I know assistants that were or stylists that were assistants for like 4 years. It's bananas to me. Today, with the introduction of TikTok and YouTube and like the internet, you can fast track somebody from not knowing anything to literally having almost all the knowledge of a 10-year veteran, not the experience, the knowledge, I said, in like a few months. We had to sign up for classes, we had to travel places, we had to buy VHS tapes. It took forever to watch them. Now you can just go on YouTube and go to Free Salon Education. Behind the Chair has education. There's so many educators out there on TikTok and Instagram that if you really dedicate a lot of time to just learning your craft and mastering it, you could be pretty efficient in a matter of like 6 months doing anything, cutting, coloring, whatever it is that you want to really specialize in. And you could build a pretty solid business off of just learning online. And for owners, like if you have a true training process, when an assistant comes in, if you want to fast track them, this is something I'm going to be doing in my salon too, is the first hour of the morning when they come in, have them watch something. Second hour, they're going to do a haircut, what they just learned. And so like you could do this every day. And then during the salon day to day, what I do is I have each assistant ask me 3 questions, at a minimum of 3 questions at the end of the day on something that I did that they were unsure of. And what this does is allows them to now start thinking and observing me in a way that makes them curious. Why did Nick tone with a 903 instead of a 93? Why did he mix a 9 and a 93 this time? I'm confused. Why would you do that? Well, Kate, we ran out of 903. And so what I did was I made it. And so you have to honestly like tell your assistants everything you're doing and why. Because the better you train them, the less they need you when they're on the floor. And then you have more time to go build a salon. And so a lot of people gatekeep their strategies and ideas out of fear of the assistant leaving and becoming a stylist and going somewhere else. Listen, if you own a business, if you're an owner of a salon, it is your responsibility to train your team to the best of your capabilities. And if you can't do that, then bring someone in to train them. Because my favorite quote is like, what if you train your team and they leave? What if you don't train your team and they stay? Like your salon's going to suck. So anything and everything is a learning experience. If you have a client in your chair and she has a cowlick above her right eye and it's not styling right, Brianna, come over for a second. I want you to look at this. Jennifer here has like this really annoying cowlick. How we fix it is we use a comb, and before we do anything else, we section out the front of her hairline and we flat wrap that down so there's no elevation. If you take a brush to this, or you rough dry your hair, or you clip it back and start with the back of the head as you blow her dry, this cowlick is going to be such a problem for you when you go to style the front. So to prevent that from happening, what we're going to do is dry that first. That's one scenario right there. Now, when we go back to the 3 questions, what I like to do is have them ask me 3 questions, and then I want them to take some kind of video footage of that. And this way they're not interrupting you in between, your client conversation. And so what that does is your assistant now is filming you over directing the hair in a weird way or flat wrapping the bangs. At the end of the day, she's going to be like, hey, you were doing this weird thing with the comb and you blew your bangs at first. And you're going to be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And then she's going to show you the video right there. Like, what were you doing here? Oh, Jennifer has a cowlick right here. And the reason why I did it this way was because I wanted to show her, or I wanted to get rid of that cowlick. So if I put a brush in it and everything I just explained to you, she's going to explain to the assistant. So whenever you have a client and her hairline's kind of tricky, do that first. Guess what this does for you? Because everyone complains about not having time for content. You take that reel, you use that as a social media post. The question's the hook. So a format for every social media post is hook, story, call to action. Now you got content, you have the context of the video. If you're struggling with curtain bangs or styling your hair because of cowlicks, here's one tip that will work. And then you just put that into the caption of the Instagram post. And now you have social media content, and you have a stylist or a future stylist on your team who knows how to handle that situation. And so the best thing is now you have her do this in a living Google Doc. And when I say living, it means you're always adding questions to it, and you just keep on adding to the top, and it keeps on pushing more questions down. And then every day you're adding 3 questions to it, and you could put a link to a video if you wanted to. And then what you do is this. After a year, when that person's ready for the floor, you take that Google Doc, you upload it to Claude, ChatGPT, some kind of AI, and you have it create you the official handbook for that person. So they actually have a thing now that they can use to reference. You can create your own ChatGPT for your assistant as well. So you take all of those questions, throw them into a ChatGPT that you make. And then when someone has a question, how do you deal with the cowlick on the hairline? Guess what happens? It has the answer already fed into it. So the way you look at your assistant program now needs to change dramatically. A, because of AI, B, because of technology and YouTube and TikTok. And you're spinning your wheels like, I need to have this in-depth program. You don't. You should have some kind of structure to it. So like month 1, we're going to master styling hair. This way you could pass off all of your blowouts to that person. And then they can start booking their own blowouts and start building trust and confidence with their client relationships. And you don't have to pay them because they're bringing in some revenue to the salon. I mean, you have to pay them, but you don't have to like pay them solely out of the profit of the salon, because when they start doing blowouts for you, they're going to have a little column. And then in that column every day, they should be doing something to add revenue to the salon. So if you're paying them, let's say, make it easy, $100 a day, and they're doing 3 blowouts a day for you at $40, that's $120 a day. Guess what you just did? You just made $20. So your assistant should be bringing in revenue after a month or 2. Like if you aren't letting them kind of spread their wings and get in there with clients, you're just holding them back. And then eventually they're going to want to leave your salon. Nobody should be assisting for 2 years. No one. Well, no one should be assisting for 2 years, not touching clients. They should be adding some kind of value. And I just sat with an owner yesterday. She's in the Level Up Academy, and she's having a problem because her payroll's too big. And all of her assistants don't do this. I was like, hey, we talked about this in the beginning. How come you're not doing that? And she's like, well, they're too busy, taking care of the clients for the other stylists. I'm like, why are your stylists still doing $40 blowouts when they could be doing extension installs, when they could be doing full highlights? Let's pass these like lower ticket services that don't really take a lot of skill onto the assistant. So now they're making some revenue for the salon. You're not coming out of pocket. And just by running some numbers and math, she just kind of created an extra 30 grand that month out of thin air. So it's important that you understand how to use each person in your salon and how to train your assistants. Because if you aren't using technology and AI and the ability to train them with what you're doing every day, whether it's formulating color, whether it's over directing hair, whether it's dealing with a cowlick in someone's hairline, they're going to leave and they're not going to be efficient. You're wasting your time, their time, and the salon's money. So that is like my little 1-2 combo on how to train an assistant. I actually have a whole playbook on how to take an assistant from 0 to being a stylist behind the chair in 1 year. So if you want that playbook, if you want the whole outline in a PDF form, drop the word assistant, send me a DM on Instagram. I'm at Nick Mirabella. I'll send it over to you and I'll just give it to you. Like you can actually just take it, download it yourself, tweak it, figure it out, like add your own language in it, see what works for you and your culture and your salon and your vibe, and implement it in your salon. At least take something. You're going to get something out of that. So it's free. It doesn't really cost you anything. And if you're like, holy shit, like this is really cool, I want to learn more, there is something called the Level Up Academy. This is where I take owners from just being stylists behind the chair and make them into real entrepreneurs and CEOs. So you start thinking like a business owner, not just an artist behind the chair. James, we're going to have some Q&A.
Yeah.
We're going to chat if there's any questions in the comments here. Guys, drop questions if you're struggling with an assistant program.
Cosmetologist, DM Nick, the assistant, instead of putting it in the chat.
Yeah. We have to get the live chat automation going on.
Yeah, we got to get that going on. We have, where is it? Oliver Farley said, check your DMs.
Oliver, you sound like a salesperson to me.
This probably is. Sammy's in the chat.
Sammy.
He said, I used to do that in bartending. I would make all the bartenders for lunch shift read the sports and business page of the newspaper. Dating myself here, my bar days, but they were versed when customers came in. So I'm guessing that was to an early point.
I was learning how to have conversations. Good.
Then we have, let's see.
Guys, if you have a question about your assistant program or how to get an assistant to be fully booked behind the not fully booked, but fully ready to be behind the chair in a year, rewatch this live if you're tuning in now. And if you have a question about why something's not working with an assistant or why you keep losing money because you're not using assistants properly, drop a question in the comments.
How do I know if I'm ready to bring on an assistant?
Do you own a salon? Do you work in a suite? Like you know you're ready to bring on an assistant. Here, actually, screw that. Bring one on. Bringing on an assistant is going to force you to make yourself busier or go broke. So it's like if you never had an assistant before, right? First, if you're a stylist that just does like one client at a time, it's silly to me, and you're not booked like one after the other, you may not need one. To me, though, an assistant isn't just someone who washes hair. If you're in a suite and you're busy, they can answer the phone for you. They can wash your bowls for you. They can learn from you. They can help you with social media. There's so much they can do. And the whole point of doing this, like, you're here to make money. You're here to create financial abundance for yourself and also make people beautiful. All these people out here are like, I only do one client at a time because I want to have a good experience. Well, guess what? If you truly are amazing at what you do, you're limiting the amount of people that you can actually make beautiful because you're so damn slow and you don't want to use an assistant. To me, I love making people feel beautiful. When I do their hair, they feel better when they leave than when they came in. That's my job. Look prettier, feel better, happier, smiling. Why would I want to do that to more people in a day? Why would I limit myself to one person or two people a day because I take 7 hours for a full highlight? That's insane. So having an assistant helps you do more people in a day, which helps you make more money. And if you have more money, then you can do more things in life, invest more in your education, and have more impact in the world. And I don't care what anyone says. Money solves a lot of problems. So if you don't think money, I'm not saying money is the foundation of happiness. I'm just saying, have you ever seen a guy driving a Ferrari not smiling? Very few people. But how great would it be if you do love impact on the world and you are a busy hairstylist to be like, wow, I'm going to open a salon and I'm going to teach 10 people how to do what I do. And then you grow a team of 10 people who are all doing $100,000+ a year. And now they're able to support their family and go on vacation with their family and put their kids through college, pay for their grandma's house, whatever they want to do. Like, there is a lot of reasons of why you should really focus on being as successful as you can be. And then you start helping your assistants become more successful. And then you pour into them everything you learned, and then they pass that on, and then pass that on, and the ripple effect in the universe will just repay you tenfold. It's so crazy what happens when you start pouring into an assistant or a junior stylist or somebody who's a couple chapters behind you in this career. And the best way to achieve your dreams is help somebody else achieve theirs. Hands down, it is the best way. James, next question.
We got, what's the best way to transition an assistant to a full-time stylist without hurting productivity?
Kind of like I just told you. Like, you have to make sure you do have somewhat of a structured program. So let's say your salon opens at 10. Like, this is going to be work for you guys too. Have them get in there at 9. There's an hour of watching a particular haircut. Then after that, they practice it from 10 to 11, right? And then from 11 on, they're helping you. But every client you do, you should be explaining to them why you're doing it and what you're doing it, and the reasons behind your formula, and the reasons why you took the foils down now, the reasons why you started in the back, or the reasons why you started foiling in the front. why you cut hair dry, why you chose to cut hair wet this time, why you're using a razor opposed to a texturizer shear. All of this should be fed into them all day long. And if you're a busy hairstylist at the end of the year, like they're gonna have a lot of knowledge. Like stop gatekeeping and start training them, not just telling them, train them. Like, come here for a second. This is why I point cut with a texturizer. It's to me, it's the best way to cut curtain bangs. I point cut with the texturizer. It softens the line. It flows effortlessly. And if you mess up a little bit, like it's not as dramatic with this as if you did with a scissor. Like you have a little more grace when it comes to point cut with the texturizer. And now my assistants, when they cut hair, I'm watching them do this and it's amazing. And so that is how you get them to be more efficient, because you have so many years of experience. You have 20 years more, 10 years, whatever you got behind the chair. You could condense all of that and just spoon feed it to them. You don't want to keep them on payroll. You want them to be commissioned as fast as possible and be generating revenue for the salon. So in a given week, you probably problem solve 5 new things every single week throughout the course of the year. Unless you're just like an old school stylist where you just rinse and repeat the same haircut on everybody. But every person's unique. So there is going to be a unique lesson that you have with every client, whether it's a consultation, whether it's asking for a review, whether it's how you do the haircut, whether it's an issue with their scalp, dealing with thinning hair, dealing with the family. Like there's so much involved in our industry from just a communication personality standpoint that there's lessons there too. Right. So how you ask for a review, how you ask for referral, things you do, like why you apply color first and then do foils, or why you do foils first and then do color. And you might mix and match that. Like, so sometimes for a client of mine, I would do the foils first and put color on in between the foils. Sometimes I would do the single process first and then do the foils over top of the single. And it just depended on how much time I had and what I wanted to do. So I knew that if I did the foils first, I wouldn't have an assistant to help me apply color in between the foils. So I would have an assistant help me apply the color in like 5 minutes, and then I would foil on top of it. And so it just depending on what my schedule was. And so I taught them how to master their schedule so they can manipulate time and see more people in a day. So things like this is what you should be doing when you have an assistant. Teaching them how to master their schedule, master their time, the when and the why and the who and the everything that goes into why you are so successful behind the chair. And if you're an owner and you're not, and honestly, you're not doing, this is going to be very, very between everywhere you live, but you should be doing like at least 1,000 to 1,500 a day behind the chair, with the exception of like the low, really like weird areas that like a haircut's like $35, but I don't think anyone should be paying $35 for a haircut. But typically 1,000, 1,500 days where you should be at as an owner. And if you're in a more affluent area, that could be 2,000 a day. You know, if you're in the extensions, you're doing high ticket services, that could be 3,000 a day. You do 2 installs a day, you're cranking them out. So then you're doing like 15,000 a week. So it's important that you become the owner that people look up to. And I don't want you to get trapped in being the busiest person in your salon, because your job is to build a team. And so it's your job to lead them to as far as you've gone in this career. And so if you're an owner and you've only gone to like $500 a week, and you think you're going to open a salon based off of that, you can only lead your team to be doing 500 a week as well. And so you have 5 people doing 500 a week. That's 2,500 a week out of your salon. It's not going to cut it. But if you could do 2,500 a day, then now you could lead all your assistants in your team to be doing the same thing you did, because you did it already. You have the blueprint, you have the roadmap. That's your job when it comes to training an assistant, to teach them how to become more efficient behind the chair. Cutting, coloring, the fundamentals, like that's simple to do. But these little things that make you uniquely you is what you need to be spoon feeding them on a daily basis. All right, James, any more questions?
Lori's hair. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Thank you so much for always pushing us to be better business people.
You're welcome. Yeah, business. This is funny. Business in our industry is, for whatever reason, really difficult for us, because we're givers, right? We're in the service industry. We love helping people. And it was something I struggled with because you thought you could just do hair. You're good at hair. I'm going to open a hair salon and magically I'm going to become a millionaire. And then you find out really quickly that it's not that. It just isn't. And so being good at hair doesn't mean you're going to be good at business. It doesn't mean you can't be good at business. It means you have to look at everything through a different lens. Stop thinking like an artist or a stylist and start thinking like an entrepreneur. And that means getting in the rooms with other entrepreneurs. That means reading the books, listening to the podcast, becoming a leader. That means thinking a little differently, thinking profit first. A lot of times we put other people in front of us. And for owners out there who care for their team, I don't want you to not care for your team. But if you care too much for your team and not enough for your business will fail. And then what good are you? Then you can't help anyone out because your business failed. And now these stylists have to go somewhere else and work. So the best way to truly care for your team and love them is to become better at business so you can keep your salon open longer. And then you could have and build and take care of these team members in a profitable way. And then you teach them how to be business owners. And then if you really care for them, then you help them evolve and go to what's next, which is maybe opening a salon themselves. And then next thing you know, you have like 15 salons and you're a partner on all of them and everything's running smooth and efficient. And then that is your way out of the industry without having to trade your time for money anymore. All right, James, 2 more questions.
Do you recommend hiring one full-time assistant or multiple part-time assistants?
That's actually a beautiful question. This question is great. So if you are by yourself and you're really busy and your assistant gets sick or can't come in, you're kind of beat. So if you have 2 part-times, you can always have some kind of rollover, right? Or if someone goes on vacation. But then it's like, are you giving them enough where they can only have one job and they're not being distracted working somewhere else? And so it all depends on how busy you are as an owner. If you're busy enough to have 2 part-time and also educate them on the times they're not working behind the chair with curriculum, then I would do that. Here's my roadmap for you, actually. Have one assistant, work your ass off to get that person really busy behind the chair. Like start taking clients, like efficient, right? As fat, like 6 months, you want them taking clients. Then hire the second one part-time, right? So half the time, your first assistant's helping you out, half the time they're doing like their own clients, right? Then you start passing people off to the assistant as they're on the floor. Now that new assistant's kind of helping them out, also helping you out. Once you do that, then it's time for you to hire a third or hire another stylist because now you have an assistant for the new stylist too. So now that person who is used to having an assistant has some help. Now you're building your own team. So that is what I did. Like I hired one person, got her to be good behind the chair. Then I hired the next person because I was pretty busy. She started taking clients. Then I started giving that person clients. Next thing you know, I hired a team. Like I hired 3 people who were pretty busy. These people now were too busy to actually help them out because they're doing hair. There was some downtime that they could help out. Then I hired 2 fresh assistants who didn't know what they were doing. They then picked up the slack of the towels and everything else. And so single-handedly, when I first opened the salon in Fairfield, I built 4 people pretty much from scratch. And then from there, I hired 3 more who were busy. So then we had 7. Then I hired 2 more assistants that were kind of in between. And then next thing you know, we were at like a staff of 12 within a year and a half. So you have to be aggressive with it. But yeah, I would hire the one and then as quick as you can, like 3 months, like start getting that person efficient blowouts, hire the second one part-time. Because you don't want to be stuck like without an assistant once you build your book to be supported by one. All right, James, last question. And make sure you post this on the podcast, by the way. Yesterday's, the other one, like get these up there. I was on the Apple podcast thing yesterday and I didn't see him.
So we have Westwood's in the chat, and he says, as a commission-based stylist, how can I encourage my manager to start having salon meetings where my coworkers and I can bring up concerns and ideas for the salon?
Hey, I think we should have a team meeting. I think it would really help the salon out. The best thing you do is tell your owner to be like, hey, this guy, Nick, has a really cool program. I think it would really help the salon out. And I think that you should join it because then we also get access to his next level stylist program, which because you're an owner, automatically your team gets in that for free. And then we're all going to grow together. So have them reach out to me, send them one of my videos about meetings. I did a reel about it like 2 days, maybe 2 weeks ago. In the last couple weeks, I post every day. So scroll through. There's a reel on meetings. Send it to them, and then let them know there's some things you want to talk about with them. A lot of owners don't have meetings because they're afraid of what's going to come out of the meeting. And to be honest with you, they can't speak in public. I was so bad at speaking in public. I didn't want to have team meetings because I would get nervous. I would like stutter. My lisp came out. Like it was terrible. I don't know what the hell I was saying. And I had to get over it. And then I got better at meetings because I started going live every day. And James would tell you, like, I don't like speaking in public. I just don't like it. And I had to get over that fear because on the other side of me learning how to become a better speaker lies a bigger business, a better leader for my team, the ability to communicate better with my team, and things like this. I'm able to now impact more people because I got over the fact of being scared to speak in public because of what people are going to think of me or what they're going to say or whatever the mindset is around it. And so maybe your owner has a problem, like a mindset issue. And so like ask them a question, be like, hey, why don't we ever do team meetings? I would love to get everyone together so we can all kind of grow the salon together. And really ask the question from a place of curiosity. Not like, hey, you got to do team meetings. But like, hey, I'm curious. But like, I've been hearing a lot of salons do monthly meetings, like the first Friday of every month. I think it'll be really good for us. There's a lot of things we can collaborate on and really grow the business and help us get to that next level. But again, tell them to DM me so I can get them in the program. They will crush it for you. James, last question.
Can I make my assistants 1099 or do they have to be W-2s?
All right. Yeah. Love this question. Unfortunately, here's the deal with the 1099. If they're an employee, and short answer, no, they got to be W-2 employees, like an assistant, because you're going to tell them what to do. Like you're going to give them too much direction. That's going to blur the line of them being independent. Here's what you could do, though. If you had a coaching program and they were members of your education company and they worked in the salon for free, you might be able to give them a stipend towards the growth of their business ahead of time. That's something you could work out. But again, like that's a really tricky conversation. As an assistant, you're going to tell them when to come in, like when to work, right? So they're technically going to be a W-2 employee. Now, if they were a member of your coaching program or a member of your PMA, and it's a membership relationship and they agree to come in at a certain time because they're learning in those hours, you can get away with certain things that way. But if you're a traditional salon, honestly, just W-2 them. Like you can get the deduction. But the point is they're W-2 for a certain amount of time. And then once they're on the floor, you can make them independent. But it's not independent commission, everyone. It's a rev share split. So a lot of people are talking about 1099 employees or commission 1099. To be honest with you, research the ABC ruling. And if you're California, research the AB5. And there is a way to have a LLC to LLC or business entity to business entity, the hair salons LLC or S Corp or whatever you have. And the hairstylist has a business entity. Could be a trust. It could be an LLC. They form a contract, an agreement that they're going to share revenue. The salon will support this business with a space. They'll help them, with any kind of front desk. Now, they both agree to split the revenue based on whatever the contract lays out. Now, there's a third-party processor. They agree to use this software. That software is not owned by the salon. It's also not owned by the stylist. That software is a third party. That's a fiduciary for the payments and transactions that handles the booking software, and they agree to use that booking software. And that's where the money goes into. So that is what pays the stylist. It's revenue share. So that money goes in the escrow, for example, like it's going to be an escrow account, for lack of a better example. And then from there, 60% goes to the stylist, 40% goes to the salon. And then if there is a 1099 issued, it's not from the salon to the stylist, it's from that booking software or from that third party, either trust, escrow account, LLC. And the business of that LLC is just to facilitate transactions for independent stylists and salons in a contractual agreement. So now the flow of money is never misclassified because the Department of Labor can't go to the salon like, hey, you paid that stylist when they were an employee. Like, no, I didn't pay them at all, actually. So where's the misclassification? We have a revenue share agreement that we split X amount of percentages. So I didn't pay them. So if you want more information on how that works, message me because it's a very in-depth, independent stylist rev share split that I created that is compliant in almost every country. That's compliant in every state, to be honest with you. It just has to be structured the right way. It's not to avoid payroll tax, not to avoid like anything silly. It's to support your stylist. Did you know that if you were an independent hairstylist and you were in this rev share agreement and you had your own LLC and your own business, and let's say you're doing 80 grand a year and you got 2 kids, did you know that each kid you can pay to help you manage your Instagram, help you post, help you edit videos? So now you got 2 kids, 14,600 or whatever the number is now, and then 14,600. And this is like as of this year or last year, that's what you could pay each child. So roughly that's $29,000, almost 30 grand that comes off your taxable income. So if you did 80, now you're down to 50. Your kids don't pay taxes on that because they're under a certain age. It was under a certain amount. And then that money goes into their bank account, which then you can pay for their daycare, you can pay for their clothing, you can pay for their gymnastics outfit they need, whatever they need, that comes out of that account because they're working for you. And so that's a legitimate write-off. But you can't do that if you're a W-2 employee. So please tell me again how we think having a W-2 employee is actually benefiting people when it's not. Now, they put a nice little logo on their car, has their Instagram handle, their cell phones are right off, their car is deducted, like they deduct miles, but now their car's a marketing expense. It's a moving billboard. Now that person can actually open up another LLC that actually owns a car, that rents it to the Salon Stylist LLC. And now they're becoming a business in America. Now they're getting access to a lot of different opportunities to shrink down that taxable income and actually pay less taxes. So unless you're knowledgeable on how this whole thing operates, just shut the fuck up. Because being a W-2 employee, you're essentially a slave and they're dripping their tax money out of your paycheck every single week. And then you have to fight to get that back. Whereas if you get all the money up front and you structure your life in a right way, that dinner with your friend where you did her extensions and you talked about replacing them again is pretty much a business expense. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do as an independent business owner in this country. If you're in America and other countries too, it's possible. And so for people who are so quick to say you're taking advantage of people, no, you're not. Not if you do it the right way. And now guess what? That person can become an affiliate or become an influencer and start getting revenue from posting TikToks and other social media content where they're selling shampoos and styling products and curling irons off of their TikTok live. And that funnels into their LLC too. So you're teaching them how to be real business owners. I don't need employees. I want small businesses inside of my business is what I want. I want to create entrepreneurs, whether it's a salon owner or whether it's an independent stylist. My goal is to create a financially free, completely independent stylist who makes better decisions rather than an employee who's always dependent on me to spoon feed them how to be successful. I think that's going to be a good reel too. James, bookmark that one.
Bookmarked. Corinne Mashia Hair, she said, I bought the handbook and it's such a fantastic tool in my back pocket. Thank you so much. And she also said she needs that structure, please. So you should definitely reach out to Nick.
Yeah, thank you for the handbook. Guys, listen, if you bought the handbook, you're watching my live, it's a download so you can tweak it for your own culture, add your logo in there, change the verbiage. A lot of people are like, when's it getting delivered? It's not delivered. It's first, I want you to download it and then read through it and make it yours. Like I could just send you out, I don't want to send you a generic handbook that I created from my team. This is like a great outline, but internalize it. Really create some SOPs out of it. All right.
Then Larry's Hair wants to know if they have to be 13 years old, right? I'm guessing with paying the kids.
No, honestly, I don't think they do, because if your kid, like there's models, right, that are under, like there's like kids in catalogs that sell clothes, right? Children's models, babies models, the Gerber baby, they could model for your Instagram page.
Hairtastic Color wants to know where to get the handbook.
Go to nickmirabella.com and then go to the search and just put in handbook. If you want, DM me, I'll also send it to you. But guys, the handbook is like, that's like having a map, right? What you want is a navigation as you're driving that speaks in your ear. It tells you when to turn, why to turn, how to turn. So you can start thinking like you could actually get guided to where you want to go in your salon. That's the whole program. It's a combination of coaching, community, and curriculum. You don't just get handbooks in it. You get live access to me 3 times a week where we can uncover your specific needs. And then we give you a new strategy, whether it's how to become the best at SEO, how to get your salon more visible, how to sell products online, how to lead your team, how to actually run team meetings, how to get your team to show up every day. A lot of stylists don't even show up every day. So there's things you need to learn as an owner, whether it's mindset, leadership, marketing, or operations to make you more profitable. That's what we're going to uncover. We're going to fix your salon. We're going to make it more profitable. That's your salon model. Learn how to attract stylists so you always have a steady flow of people wanting to work at your salon. So you're never held hostage because somebody is toxic, but you can't let them go because they're bringing in too much revenue. And then how are you going to find clients? You need a steady flow of clients who call you every day and book appointments. And this way, your stylists are happy because they're fully booked. They're not sitting in the back room wondering, should I be a realtor? Should I bartend? Should I go try something else? No, everyone's happy. Everybody wins. So those are the three systems we're going to implement in your salon. And then you're going to learn how to really be an entrepreneur and be successful as an owner, not just a hairstylist. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is today's live. I got a call coming up in a little bit I want to prepare for. So everyone, thanks for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you click subscribe, make sure you follow or hit the notification bell. If you're on the podcast, thank you for listening on the podcast. I try to put this out everywhere. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening to this live or this podcast or whatever the platform you're on listening is. And if you guys are struggling, if you have a question, if you need just want another perspective, shoot me a message on Instagram at Nick Mirabella. I'll be happy to help you out. I got a ton of free resources. If you're confused about profit, there's profit calculators on nickmirabella.com. Go to the search and put in calculator. There's like 5 of them right now that could help you figure out what you should pay in commission, what kind of salon you should have, whether it's rental, commission, hybrid. It's all on there for you. I'm going to keep on updating them as time goes on. So thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.